In my world, this wisdom operates constantly. And the less you're caught up in your thinking and in your intellect and about all the like shoulds and whatever, how things should be different, the more you are in this, you could also say like presence or state of meditation. I can speak to that a little bit. Again, like this is not the truth, this is just my personal experience, I guess, and from the work with my clients. It's that, for me, one of the subtopics contained in the powers inside of us is there's a whole bunch of capabilities that we're born with and that are sort of like constantly trying to come out. And I already wrote down infinite resilience and clarity in the present moment. And I would add to that, you could call it like, for example, wisdom and intuition. And so my experience, or the way I would probably language that, is that we're sort of like running on two types of intelligence. And one type of intelligence is our intellect, our rational mind, our problem-solving mind, our analytical mind that helps us, figure out the solution to all these problems and, figure out life and solve and calculate and analyze and structure and all that. And in my world, in my mind, there is a deeper source of intelligence that I will call wisdom or intuition or inner knowing. And it's that sense of just knowing something without thinking, or knowing something without having the evidence to back it up. And that could be you meet someone, you meet a man or a woman, and you get that sense of, he's the one, she's the one. Or like you're going through job interviews and you're getting an offer and it looks perfect on paper, but for some reason, like your stomach or your wisdom tells you, like there's something wrong. I don't want to go there, And in my world, this wisdom operates constantly, and the less you're caught up in your thinking and in your intellect and about all the like shoulds and whatever, how things should be different, the more you are in this, you could also say like presence or state of meditation. The more you will get those ideas that then start directing and pointing you in certain directions, right? That could give you the idea of, I should move over to this position within the company, or maybe I should quit, or maybe I should take a sabbatical, or, what if I did this kind of training or career on top of it, which sounds completely nonsensical and there's no logic, but I'm just curious about it. I'm just enthusiastic about learning this type of thing. And this way, I think this inner knowing guides us towards that thing maybe. And maybe some people are lucky that they have this idea at the age of 12 and others have it at the age of 70. And they're finally having that moment where they're like, I think, from now on I want to do this. And I think the more you are on the soul line, the more you already are resting within your wholeness and your completeness, the more you're open to these seemingly crazy ideas about doing something differently than before, which other people may frown upon or think you're a bit crazy, but they make sense to you and they guide you in that direction. That's my very personal take on it.
I've shifted. I'm in my third career, and I've never had a moment like what Tom Brady had. I've never had that degree of clarity. And my first career, I spent 20 years in retailing, and that's where I burnt myself out. And I ended up in a therapy room for 2 years, not a whole 2 years, just 1 hour every week for 2 years. And there was 1 minute. I remember, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I can vividly remember. The guy's name was Jim, and he was sitting in a chair across from me. It was a brown leather chair with I'm not draw the exact picture of it, but, and I remember the thought came into my head, you should try and do what he does. And I heard the thought, and I had 100,000 thoughts that day, but that thought, I knew something, there was something about that thought that I knew to follow. And within 2 years, I was a therapist. And in 2015, I was sitting having dinner one night with the lady that trained me as a therapist. And I can't remember what we were talking about, but she looked up at me at one stage and she gave me a quizzical look and said, have you ever thought about coaching? I didn't know what coaching was. but there was something inside of me, and I think it points to that knowing or that wisdom. I knew about sports coaching or voice coaching, or I didn't know this world existed, but there was something in that night, in that moment, where I just call it a nudge. I got a nudge from the universe. That's how I describe it to people. I just knew to follow that, and I've still never had I'm going to be whatever, a superstar, but I just keep following the nudges that I get.